So leading up to this chapter, I did hear about rumors regarding Tokyo Ghoul and the new killer, the Ghoul, and how his power will work, but playing it just felt so different and he's so addictive to play. I'm genuinely so certain that this is the funnest killer to play in DVD. This PTB's queue times are longer than 2v8 queue times, and I don't even mind waiting those queue times just because how fun this killer is. I'm not familiar with the character at all, but that should never matter when it comes to how fun the killer is in general. And that's what the DVD community sometimes fails to realize. I noticed that when it comes to someone that they're not familiar with, they immediately think that killer would suck in some way. The only thing that would suck about that killer is you not knowing that killer. Everything else you have to test yourself. It's not fair at all just saying the killer is not going to be good just because you're not familiar with that killer. Hell, I don't watch anime at all and this killer is the funnest killer in DVD. All I know about Tokyo Ghoul is that it follows a character named Kenaki, I think I said that wrong, please forgive me, who's a college student and lives in this world where humans and ghouls exist in the same world. Tragedy occurs when Kenaki gets attacked by a ghoul, transforming him into a half human, half ghoul hybrid, in which he must embark upon new challenges from becoming a ghoul. It's literally all I know about the show. And that's what I like about killers that I'm not familiar with, because those wind up being the most unique killers to play in DVD. What I like about the Ghoul's power is that it's easier to adapt to the more you play it. He has 2 tokens in which he could charge a leap and attack survivors with basically a quick time event, pressing the attack button, biting the survivors and making them go into deep wound. However, he cannot down them with his power, which is okay because he can just use that for mobility. And even just doing that is the funnest shit ever. When he hits the QTE, he could go in enrage mode, which gives him an extra token. This gives him an extra leap, make him have 3 leaps in total. But when enrage mode goes out, it goes back down to 2. Now that's just a simple way of explaining his power, because his power does have a high skill ceiling to an extent. Because like I said, the more you play it, the more you get used to it. Because survivors can't just counter his power just by running straight. They have to like run in a circle in a way. Because as they see you coming, they try to cut you off or break line of sight from you, since they know you're gonna catch up eventually. Because what I kept doing, the more I kept playing as the Ghoul, every time I kept seeing them run in the distance, I would just catch up with the leap and then cancel my power and then just basic attack the survivor like that. It seems to work most of the time, and that's just the effective way I can see people using his power, especially since you can't get downs with his power. So the most effective way to use his power is to use the leap for mobility to get as close as you can to the survivor, cancel the power, and then down them with a basic attack. But it's this slide add-on that gives you 100% slide on leaps, and I can honestly see this one being base kit just because how useful and beneficial it is. It just gives you that extra bit of distance you need to catch up to the survivor or hit accurate leaps, even QTEs. It also helps because the Ghoul could just slide against collision rather than constantly bumping into it. It's just beneficial to have all around because it just gives you that extra boost. I found myself always running it because of how weird it feels playing without it. It's just one of those that I'm always going to keep playing with no matter what. And I'm glad that it's a common add-on, so you could just always keep having it as long as you have blood points. I still need to test the other add-ons. I tested some, but I still need to test the rest. But this brown slide add-on, I could definitely see it being base kit. What I also happen to notice, which I think is a bug, is that when you play as the Ghoul with play with your food, his QTE attacks don't count as a basic attack and they won't take off your token. So he can keep that play with your food stack and stack up on the other tokens. It's just that of course you'll have to avoid basic attacking the survivors. You could QTE them as much as you want, you just can't basic attack them. And as long as you do that, you can stack up on play with your food tokens and they won't go away. I'm pretty sure this is a bug though, so try it while you can during PTB. I was really running meme builds the whole time because I don't really play serious at all when it comes to PTBs. I just play for the killer's power. But I'm at a point where I don't even care if I lose with this killer. This killer is just too damn fun. I cannot wait until this killer releases, especially for everyone can experience it overall. Whoever knew Carnage would be this fun to play in DVD. I also like the fact that he doesn't use his hands or feet at all and he lets the tentacles do all the work, except during his attack animation where he's literally throwing up gang signs.
West side. West side of this motherfucker.
But back to this killer being fun to play, this killer is also just fun to play against because like I said, you don't just commonly run away from this killer, you have to dodge this killer. The Ghoul's mobility is very high, so he can catch up to you in an instant in 2 leaps or even just 1 leap if he's that close enough to you. So sure, you can just run away, but at a point you have to dodge him by predicting his leap and alternate your path where he doesn't have to cut you off. Because if he predicts your path the whole time, he's just gonna cut you off and he's gonna wind up basic attacking you. At least that's just what I noticed playing against him. Because like I said, this is just PTB, and it could be other ways, new ways that we haven't discovered to play him, and we can only see that during release. But I'm pretty sure this would be the most effective way to play him. Design wise, like I said, I love this killer's design. He's like an anime Carnage in a way. Spider-Man in DBD, if you would say. His lobby theme is badass. I like some of his voice lines, though I heard from a friend that more voice lines would be added to the game, and these are just a few voice lines that he has now, but that's just a rumor. I know my friend of mine is about hype as hell right now because he kept driving me crazy about this Tokyo Ghoul. But I'm just glad this killer turned out the way it turned out. This killer is legitimately the funnest killer to play in DVD, and I'm not even saying that because of the trend. I'm just saying that because of the liking of this killer's power. I genuinely like playing this killer. What I happened to notice about his power though that kind of made me a bit disappointed was that he couldn't elevate with his tentacles, so he can't go up a second story with his tentacles. I just thought that would have been pretty cool to add, but it does make sense with the map's layouts as to why, so that's why I'm not really complaining about it, because it still is fun to use nonetheless, and he's still fast with it regardless. Sure, if he could use the tentacles to elevate, he could get up there in an instant, but he has high mobility anyway, so he will get there not in an instant but pretty quickly anyways. Still would have been pretty dope to see in Cold Tower. You just see a breakable door just immediately break open with the ghoul just standing there on that second level of Cold Tower. Think it would have been pretty damn cool to see, but it is what it is. I try not to expect too much out of these killers' powers anyways, and just the most reasonable, because it's just being realistic at the end of the day, you know. But at the same time, you can't expect the unexpected because these devs are full of surprises, right? What I also happen to notice is that people are complaining about his hit detection, like his leap attack being too easy to hit, which I could say is reasonable. I could see them nerfing his hitbox a little bit, making his hitbox a bit more smaller, so that way it'll be a bit harder to hit. You would just of course have to be a bit more adjustable as to where you're aiming and how you lining up the QTE, so that when you press it you don't hit any obstacles in the way you actually activate the QTE. I noticed that being the downside to his power too. If obstacles are in the way, but if you activate the QTE, it won't activate because obstacles were in the way. But I don't think they're gonna nerf his hitbox to the point where it makes him unplayable. Like, he would still be playable and you would notice a hitbox nerf, but like I said though, you just have to be a bit more precise at where you aiming at. It won't just feel like as soon as you look at the survivor you could just press the button, you know. I'll be surprised if they don't nerf it, but if they do I won't be surprised, because his leap attack is pretty easy to hit, but at least he can't downward it, so maybe that's the point, you know. And the last thing is that I just wish his Mori was more gruesome. Sure, there's some detail to the Mori to make it more gruesome, but I just look at Singularity's Mori, Xenomorph's Mori, Vecna's Mori, Hag's Mori. Like, I wish they could have at least made it so that guts pour out their stomach, almost similar to Hag's Mori, and you actually just see the guts coming out. At least something close to that extent, but who knows, it is just PTB, so they could update the graphics on the Mori. I just expect DBD to be a lot more gruesome at this point, you know. I would want to say that his perks are bad too, but in certain meme builds or certain areas I tend to like his perks, as unuseful as they may be sometimes, or useless as they may be. I find myself not using Hex Nothing But Misery. I just found myself not really using that perk often. It's not that I don't think the perk is bad or anything, it's just didn't pique my interest that much for some reason, and I just never really used it, but I may use it later on down the line. It's just PTB, so I'm just really testing out the ghoul's power really. But the perk I did strangely use often was Forever Entwined, which increases the action speed of dropping, hooking, and picking up survivors whenever you injure survivors. So every time a survivor takes damage, you get a token to a max of 8 tokens, and with those tokens increases the dropping, hooking, and picking up speed of survivors by the specified %. But his perk None Are Free is good too, where whenever you hook a survivor for the first time, you get a token, a maximum of 4 tokens, and once the generators are complete, the entity blocks the windows and pallets for 60 seconds per token. This perk I could just see being a mega endgame build, and this one I'm definitely using more often, especially endgame builds. Really like this one. But other than that, I'm really liking this killer. This killer is by far the funnest and my favorite killer in DBD right now, at least power wise. Like I said, I don't really know the character's lore or anything like that. Maybe I'll get into that later, but as this character stands in DVD, this killer is by far the funnest killer in the game, hands down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Having too much fun with this killer. Queue times take a decade, but that's okay. Can't wait till this killer releases for everyone could get their hands on him. This killer is just too much fun, man. The reason why I also feel like this killer is a lot of fun is because this killer is before the anniversary, which is FNAF. So I feel like this killer serves as the appetizer for what's to come, you know. But for people that has an unrelenting hatred for FNAF, you know, at least you have this killer, you know. If you have an unrelenting hatred towards anime too, I don't know what to tell you. Speak of FNAF, it was this post by Dweet that Dead by Daylight is going to PAX East on Friday, May 9th. And it says here that they will be showing new content including 9th anniversary celebrations and the first official look at their highly anticipated Five Nights at Freddy's collaboration. The PTB may be the following Tuesday, May 13th. May be the following Tuesday, May 13th. So it's not confirmed. Can change. Says here that Dead by Daylight will be celebrating its 9th anniversary at PAX East on May 9th. Join the team for an exciting showcase and an early look at their collaboration with Five Nights at Freddy's as another year of Dead by Daylight is about to begin. So definitely keep a lookout for that. Wonder what they're gonna show. So you guys let me know down in the comments what you guys think they're gonna show at PAX. Might just be a cinematic teaser in my opinion. Might just be, but who knows, they could show a little bit more. Only because the PTB will be days away, right? So why would they show anything too big or too revealing? But I could be wrong on that standpoint, so who knows, because it does says join the team for an exciting showcase, so they may just showcase the whole thing, who knows, or just show us a bit of something. But how do you guys feel about the Ghoul? Do you guys feel the Ghoul is the funnest killer in the game? Do you think it will be the Ghoul pandemic where everybody plays nobody but the Ghoul? Let me know down below. Love y'all, take care, I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, and peace.